Hey everyone, it's been a while. We just recently got the Maple Memo addressing recent issues and concerns. So I'm going to. This is my first time seeing it, so let's go over what they've said. Hopefully, it's some good stuff. Hopefully, it's answering some questions we have. So let's start. Hi, Maplers. I'd like to provide you all with an update on the current state of Maplestory, including the reboot stability issues, the recent announcement regarding changes to Kenshin, and a timeline regarding the release of certain content of this year, as well as address a few other topics that we know you are concerned about. Okay, so first is lag and server instability. Over the past several weeks, and during several periods over the last year or so, we know that server lag and latency issues have been an ongoing problem in the Reboot World server. First of all, we sincerely apologize that this is happening and that our teams have not been able to mitigate it yet. Okay, from what I've heard, it's been happening for an extremely long time. So either it's an outstanding issue, like it's an extreme issue, or it just comes down to laziness and incompetence. There's no other real way to put it. I've been back since October. I've been back playing Maple since October, and I just started Reboot in October. And I wasn't really noticing too many lagging issues until I hit 200 and went into the Arcane River. So, but there was still issues back in October. Like I was getting mem leaks all the time. I was getting crashes. It's just it was happening then. It's still happening now. As many of you have reported and discussed within the community, although these issues seem to be most severe during our summer and winter updates, when there is a larger influx of players. The server lag also persists in between these updates, and the severity of the issues seem to be different between reboot channels. Well, yes. And I think what part of the issue might be is that a lot of the mini games that they come out with during these big updates, as well as like Ursus. I know Ursus is on specific channels. Those mini games are on specific channels. The Maple esports stuff is on specific channels. I know that was probably kind of because that game is always laggy, no matter what's happening. It's just a lagging mess. We are continuing to conduct a thorough investigation with several of our teams to see if the issue is caused by certain contents or systems within the code or our server infrastructure. However, we are not able to find a root cause yet. Oh man, I knew this was gonna happen. They sent out a post last week saying that they are aware of our concerns and that they're going to address them, but give them time. And then now they're just saying, we're not sure why. We're not sure why. That they could have just said this last week. We highly suspect that this lag is caused by the increased amount of information that has to be handled with the increased number of players. Okay, but let's be honest. This has been happening in Maple for a long time. And I'm sure that this has caused many players to leave. And to be honest, Maple population is not what it used to be. Maple population is extremely down. So I don't think it's going to be the number of players. We are also investigating other potential causes, like if there's a particular player behavior that has become more prevalent recently that may be increasing the amount of information needing to be handled by our systems. So are they trying to blame it on us? Are they saying it's something that we are doing that's causing this? Okay. We are utilizing various performance monitoring systems at the moment to investigate this issue further. Okay, so have you been doing these tests and everything for the entire time that you've known about it? Is it, obviously if you do these tests over a long period of time and you're not finding out the reason why, obviously it's not something you're testing. Okay. Well, in parallel to this investigation, we are also looking into ways to optimize several aspects of our systems in an attempt to mitigate the lag as soon as possible. I mean, you have working channels right now, so why wouldn't you just look at the difference of what's happening between those channels? Again, we apologize that it is taking a long time to look into this issue, but I wanted you to know that I just woke up, so my brain is now wanting to work. But I wanted you to know that we will be continuing to look into this issue with a high priority. Have you not been? It doesn't really seem like you are. Although we understand that and these words are too much for me right now. Although we understand that alleviating the server lag and reboot is the ultimate goal, we do want to provide you all with a small token of our apology if it's a goddamn Bebe box, I swear. Apology and appreciation for bearing with us as we continue to work on this. We plan to provide you all with an apology gift that you will be able to claim once per account when you log into the game after our V230 game update maintenance, currently planned for February 9th. The specific contents of this gift for all players is the following. It's a Bebe box, and was this a vac pet? So 1 magnificent growth potion, 1 typhoon growth potion, and 3 extreme growth potions. So is this the one that's I don't know my potions, man. Is this the one that's a level between 249 and 250? And this is between 210 and 240? No. I'm not sure what the type. I know that these are the random number of levels between 1 and 10 from level 141 on to 199. 100 symbols. A 30-day sherbet pet, which I'm assuming is a vac pet. If it's not a vac pet, then don't give us it because we don't care. Master Craftsman Cube 5. And 5 Meister Cubes. 10 cubes. 10 cubes. That is pathetic. And they're not red or black cubes, mind you. They're Master and Meister cubes. That is insulting. Maple Tour VIP pass coupon. Is this just another entry into Maple Tour? Because 30 more entries is only going to get you maybe... Because in 14 entries you get like 320 mil. So this is roughly under a bill. That's so dumb. Okay, whatever. There's a lot of people not going to be happy about that. Kana's Kenshin skill. As you may know, the Kenshin skill has undergone several upgrades within the past few years, and internally we have been constantly reviewing the effect of these changes and communicating and continuing to discuss the future of the skill. In late 2018, I had mentioned that changes to Kana and Kenshin were inevitable due to the stress the skill was causing on our server processing, and in the unintended ways this very powerful skill was being used by players. which conflicted with the overall direction of the game. Again, throwing blame on players. I'm not sure how unintended the Kenshin skill would be. So wait, is the unintention part making a separate account for Kana? And then using your Kana as just a totem for all your characters to level with? Because if that was unintended, then whoever came up with the skill is not a very smart person. And you cannot blame players of your own game who are using the tools that you created to play the game. You can't blame other players. You can't blame players, period. Okay. The first of many of these changes occurred in 2019 when we reduced the overall effectiveness of the monster's spawn time, altering effects to combat illicit use. What is illicit use? Explain what the illicit use was. As well as introduce other ways to encourage players to take advantage of the benefits of the skill offered. Like what? Explain! You're not giving us it, like, you're just making words up at this point. Then in 2020, we made further adjustments to the skill to reduce the effectiveness even more. Again, we felt it was necessary to make these changes since we saw that our initial changes in 2019 had not really addressed the core issues we wanted to address. Just get rid of it, man. Like, increase the spawn rate and the spawn summon times of all maps. And just get rid of the damn thing. Even though the skill had negative ramifications on the game balance and server processing, we took an incremental approach to adjusting Kenshin since the skill was so powerful. We wanted to gather more data after these changes to help determine a course of action that would align with the overall health and direction of the game, while considering all of the feedback from players. Behind the scenes, we discussed at length all the feedback you provided regarding the skill and the changes we've made, reviewed data on how the skill was being used and what effect it had on the overall balance and future direction of the game, and what sort of effects these would have on the new player experience. After our recent discussions, the next step we plan to take for this skill is to remove the monster respawn time altering effects of the skill and replace it with a 10% increase to EXP gained. We plan to introduce this change in our summer update this year. So they're removing the monster respawn time altering effects. Not the actual number of monsters respawn, just the time. Although the decision was been made considered the health of the future of the game, environment, and new player experiences, we will continue to adjust other Kana skills in order to ease the transition of this change for those who play Kana as their main character. So what I'm getting from that, because there are two things from Kenshin, right? You get an increased spawn, meaning more monsters on the board, and an increased spawn timer, which means faster respawns from the monster. So from what I'm understanding from this, is you're still getting the increased monster spawn, but you are losing the increased monster spawn rate, and it's being replaced with 10% increase of EXP. I'll have to ask one of my viewers on stream, because they main Kana. I'll have to ask Will and see what he thinks about that. Upcoming content plans. One of the many things that we fail to communicate to you is clear information about our upcoming content plans, like the 64-bit. That's all I really want to know. After my last memo, I know there was a confusion about the plan to release 64-bit client, okay, and Yeti Pink Bean World content in global Maplestory. Both of these things needed to be reviewed more carefully, so it was difficult to confirm the schedule at the time. However, today we will and can confirm that we plan to release both of these in our March update this year. Oh, holy shit. Okay, so we're getting We're getting 64-bit client in March. Okay. Is it ready? Don't release it if it's not ready. Like, we can wait for it. We just wanted to know that it was coming. We want to also know that the game's gonna work once you implement 64-bit client. Okay, well, game will work to your standards, I should say. The game doesn't work to our standards. We also see a lot of questions and confusion about when certain content will be released in Global Maplestory and why it may not be released in the timeline that you may be expecting. As you know, GMS has years worth of content and specifications that all need to work together smoothly. So that large amount of content needs to be taken into consideration when introducing even the smallest changes of quality of life improvements that seem trivial, like the boss crystals. We will plan our content roadmap based on the timeline we need for several parts of this process. This process includes reviewing how long it will take for us to implement this content to fit within the GMS. To fit within GMS. Discussion within our teams. Oh my gosh, I can't. I just woke up. My brain does not want to function right now. Okay. Discussion within our teams. I did it again. Let's take a breather. 1, 2. Okay. English is hard, guys. Discussion within our teams on how this content will interact with other global Maplestory content, while allowing ourselves time to iterate on the changes if necessary. The only quality of life improvements I can think that they're talking about is the boss crystal changes, because that's just something we haven't gotten yet. In order to clear up some of the confusion about when some of the content will be released this year, please see below for a tentatively high-level timeline for when we are planning to release certain content for Global Maplestory. February, Tower Boss content and reward improvements. Additional quality of life improvements and bug fixing for guilds, skills, abilities, various Reboot World content. You could be more specific. You can just say other things. You can make the thing a little longer. Tell us specifically what about guilds, what about skills, what skills, whose skills, what abilities. The only skills that we know that you're changing are Kenshin, so is this happening? Well, you said you're doing that in the summer update, but abilities, various Reboot World content, Choo Choo Food Festival event, which we know is coming after the live event. Cube and flame adjustments, such as increased availability of flames from elite monsters and elite bosses for all the world. Oh yeah, I remember them talking about that when I first came back in October. Is that still not a thing? I thought that was already implemented. Removal of cubes and flames related items from sources that contributed less than 1% of overall players' acquisition methods. Are you adjusting it by increasing the acquisition of cubes from everybody's actual way of getting cubes, like bosses? Are you increasing the chance to get it from bosses, or from the Fritto portals, the Iron Wolf dens? People get a lot of cubes from that. March, we're getting the Pink Bing World and Yeti, and I think that has a good medal if you participate in that, as well as 64-bit client, which I'm excited for. That should fix most of like mem leak stuff if it's done properly, but we'll see. Summer 2022 Reboot World Intense Power Crystal price increase from 3x to 5x compared to non-Reboot Worlds. So we're getting increased price in boss crystals, but are we not getting the dynamic pricing system? Additional revamps to boss rewards, Kana skill adjustments. To be determined. They're thinking about it, but it's not quite there yet. Reboot world sale of pets that can obtain items in a broader range than other pets, so vac pets. Player housing content. Lower Star Force enhancement costs by 20%. Okay, well, you need to do that. I mean, at this point, we're used to it, but that's not something that should justify why they're so expensive. Please note, for the sake of the brevity of this memo, the above list does not include all the content and events to be released in the future, and we also will not be going into much detail about each item listed above yet. Obviously. We simply wanted to provide a high-level look at the major content and changes in the near future that you may have questions about. We will provide more details about these items in the future. There are many more discussions and content planned for this year. However, we aren't ready to discuss or talk about them yet at this time. I know it may be frustrating to hear, yes, but we want to do our best to provide you with accurate information so that it doesn't cause more confusion. And it wasn't causing confusion. There was no confusion. We understand what's happening. And that's why we're frustrated. As we mentioned in the brief statement last week, we also know that there are many more topics that you are concerned about and questions that you may have even reviewing the information mentioned above. We won't be able to answer all your questions at once, so please continue to let us know your thoughts and feedback, and we'll try to address many of them as we can. Okay, well, first of all, you should let us know about the topics you can't talk about without talking about them. You can mention them, saying, talk about this issue, because there's a whole list of issues that we brought up, right? So you can address the issues saying we just can't talk about this issue at this time, rather than just a blanket statement. Okay, well, my overall thoughts. This is horrid. So they're initially trying to figure out if it's something on their end or if it's something we are doing, if it's something that is caused by the player. But they highly suspect that it's caused by an increased amount of information. So if it's your highest suspicion, then you just need to do what you can to fix that. Like, man, it's so frustrating. Just don't blame players, because it's not an influx of players. Like Maplestory's population, I'm pretty sure, is on the decrease. And shit like this memo is just gonna turn people away. I know it is. This is a fucking joke. Like, it's a special Bebe box because it has a Sherbert pet for 30 days, which I'm assuming is a vac pet. If it's not, that's just spitting in our face. 10 cubes. It's not black or red cubes. It's just Meister and Master cubes. It's like they're trying to upset us. Again, they're stating the reason for this is server stability, as well as player misuse. Again, it's the player's fault. It's our fault, guys. And then the upcoming content plans was stuff we already knew about. I'm happy we got an overall certification of when they planned to release the 64-bit client. I just hope that it is running when it gets released. So, well, guys, let me know what you think about it in the comments. I'm gonna go surf on Reddit and see all the angry people there, I'm sure. But thank you so much for watching. If you have any thoughts on this yourself, you can leave them in the comments down below. and excuse me, and we can have a discussion about it down there. So thank you so much again for watching, and I hope everybody has a good night. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.